What the Ferrari press team didn't say says everything. As the paddock digests the shocking fall of Christian Horner from Red Bull, whispers out of Maranello spark a deeper storm. Could Ferrari replace Vasseur with Horner? If so, they wouldn't just be signing a strategist, they'd be detonating a time bomb, because if that happens, Lewis Hamilton walks. This isn't tabloid speculation. Will Buxton didn't hesitate. If they replace Fred with Christian Horner, I don't think Lewis would be a Ferrari driver for much longer. One sentence, a declaration, and to those who understand the deep scars of 2021, it's a clear red line. There's no current feud, they say, no active tension, but history remembers differently. Hamilton versus Horner isn't about words, it's about wars waged in silence, legacy battles masked as title fights. Putting them under one roof is like reuniting oil and flame. Which brings us to the real question, not will it happen, but why this fracture never healed. To understand what's at stake, we must go back to the darkest season of modern Formula One, where the seeds of this standoff were sown. It wasn't just a title fight, 2021 was a psychological war, and Christian Horner was its architect. While the world focused on Verstappen versus Hamilton on track, the real battle was unfolding behind closed doors, in stewards' rooms, press conferences, and coded briefings. Horner didn't just fight for Red Bull, he waged a narrative war, questioning Hamilton's driving, his character, even his presence in the sport. And Lewis, he never responded directly, but that silence wasn't peace, it was pressure. Controlled, suffocating, strategic. Behind the helmet, Hamilton was alone against a machine that had decided he had to lose, and Horner, more than anyone, became the voice of that machine. So imagine this, the same man who publicly undermined him, now sitting at the head of the Ferrari project Hamilton joined to write his final chapter. That's not a reunion. It's a betrayal, and the silence from Ferrari, deafening, because silence in Formula One is never neutral. It's either strategy or surrender. As the rumor swells, one question grows louder. What does Ferrari truly want? Redemption with Hamilton or control with Horner? Fred Vasseur was never just a team principal. He was Hamilton's shield inside the chaos of Maranello. When Lewis signed with Ferrari, it wasn't only for the car, it was for the project, for stability, for trust. And Vasseur represented all of that. A Frenchman with no allegiance to the old Italian power games, a pragmatist in a kingdom of politics. But now, that shield is cracking. The Italian press has turned. Whispers of underperformance, of strategic stalling, of locker room discontent. Convenient timing, isn't it? Just as Horner becomes available, suddenly Vasseur is portrayed as a problem, when in truth, he may be the last barrier between Hamilton and a hostile takeover. But here's the twist. If Ferrari pushes Vasseur out knowing Horner could step in, then this isn't just about performance, it's about preference. And that preference may not include Lewis, because Horner doesn't share projects, he owns them. And if he steps into Ferrari, Hamilton's vision dies before it's born, which leads to a deeper fracture. If Ferrari invites Horner, do they believe in Hamilton at all? Or is he just a figurehead in a story someone else is rewriting? This isn't about who leads Ferrari, it's about who defines it. In one corner, Hamilton, a 7-time world champion, symbol of resilience, legacy, and revolution. In the other, Horner, the master tactician, constructor of dynasties, ruthless when needed, loyal only to victory. Putting them in the same red car garage isn't collaboration, it's collision. Hamilton didn't join Ferrari to serve someone else's vision. He came to rewrite history, to transform the Prancing Horse into a symbol of justice, artistry, and unfinished business. But Horner, he builds empires in his own image, and that image doesn't share the spotlight. This is where the real power shift hides. If Horner walks in, he doesn't just take Vasseur's office, he takes control of the narrative. The emotional architecture Hamilton began crafting gets dismantled piece by piece, quietly, efficiently, completely. Because to Horner, legacy is not shared, it's seized. So now the question twists. Would Ferrari rather win Horner's way, or believe in the longer, more human, more uncertain path Hamilton offers? Whichever side they choose, one thing is certain. Both cannot reign. On paper, it's just a management decision. Behind the scenes, it's a philosophical ultimatum. Christian Horner's potential arrival isn't a footnote, it's a fork in the road, because Ferrari now stands between two futures, one shaped by Hamilton's vision of redemption through unity and resilience, and another driven by Horner's cold, tactical hunger for domination. Hamilton's presence in Maranello is symbolic. He didn't just bring speed, he brought purpose. diversity, spirit, a sense that Ferrari could evolve beyond its haunted past. But Horner represents a return to old codes, efficiency over empathy, control over collaboration, results at all cost. To let Horner in is to admit the dream of Hamilton's Ferrari was just that, a dream. And for Lewis, the message would be crystal clear. You're not the architect here. Your legacy, your mission, your fight, expendable. It's not about comfort, it's about meaning. And every second Ferrari delays in shutting down the rumor, the silence becomes louder. Because in F1, when you don't pick a side, the paddock assumes you already have. No official statement, no denial, no support, just silence. And in Formula One, silence is never neutral. It breeds suspicion, erodes trust, and fractures teams from within. In Maranello, the atmosphere is shifting. Not with words, but with looks, hesitations, and radio calls that feel a second too delayed. Hamilton is no stranger to pressure. But this is different. It's not the outside world challenging him, it's the walls around him softening. The very team that welcomed him as a savior now flirts with the idea of bringing in the man who once tried to destroy everything he stood for. Mechanics whisper, engineers hedge, strategy meetings become colder. Every nod feels rehearsed, every briefing too polished. That's how internal collapse begins, not with explosions, but with subtle realignments of loyalty. And Lewis feels it. The emotional grip loosens, not because he's weak, but because he knows the signs. He's lived them before. And when a team starts choosing silence over protection, the writing's already on the garage wall. But the most chilling part, Ferrari still thinks it can keep both men without consequence, as if Hamilton is just another piece on the board, not the soul of the game. This is no longer speculation, it's a referendum. Ferrari is being forced to answer a question it's avoided for decades. What kind of legacy does it want to build? A machine of cold victories under Horner, or a renaissance of soul, symbolism, and justice with Hamilton? These aren't just men, they are philosophies, and they cannot coexist because Hamilton doesn't compromise on purpose. He's proven that across every team, every era, every betrayal. He doesn't just race, he transforms, and transformation threatens systems built on control. Horner, on the other hand, doesn't ask for space, he takes it. He reshapes everything in his image, from culture to strategy to tone, and if he arrives, he won't adapt to Ferrari. Ferrari will adapt to him. That's the cost of his success. So when the rumor mill spins and the team remains silent, Hamilton isn't waiting for confirmation. He's watching for truth, and every second Ferrari hesitates, it tells him exactly what he needs to know. This is no longer about drivers or team principles, it's about identity. And once Ferrari chooses, there's no turning back. One legacy will be crowned, the other erased. If Ferrari moves forward with Christian Horner, it won't just lose Lewis Hamilton, it will lose something far more fragile and far more rare. A chance at transformation, at redemption, at rewriting what Ferrari means. Because Lewis didn't come just to win races, he came to restore faith, to bring a new heartbeat into an empire haunted by its past. And whether Horner brings titles or not, his presence would send one brutal message: the old power always wins. This isn't about performance, it's about betrayal, of a project, of trust, of every silent mechanic who believed Hamilton's arrival meant a new era, not just new overalls. And if Ferrari lets this fracture grow, it won't be remembered as a bold risk. It will be remembered as the moment they traded soul for structure, vision for control, meaning for medals. So ask yourself, would Enzo have bowed to politics, or followed the fire of a driver who dared to believe in something greater than himself? The media won't say it, but here we will. If you believe Hamilton's legacy deserves truth, stay with us, because this story is just beginning.